Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Astros Baseball. Good morning to all of you. I know the last two games were pretty bad. Uh, Wally and Ryan talked about game one, and me and Wally are here to talk about game two, which was, I don't know which one was worse. You can give me your opinion on that, Wally, but the Astros lose 7-1. Good morning, Wally. And thanks for waking up early to do the show.
Yeah, it's a results-based business. So, the thing about last night, which was disappointing, is we saw some sloppy play in the field. You wasted a great start by Javier. Javier was nails. That's the Javier we thought we were going to get last year. They look to have fixed his mechanical issues. It's one start, just like the Astros having two losses is only two losses. We mentioned last night, as far as the Astros, if we're still talking about these same issues May 15th, then we've got a problem. You want to come up and tonight and get Stroman. Brown's been good. Let's see if we can split the series. It's a tough start. It's a tough start for the first two games and a tough schedule, too.
Yeah, we talked about that before. It's a tough schedule, and it is a way rougher start than we expected. But anyway, so they lose 7-1. It started out good, just like the first game did. Altuve had a double. There was two outs, and Bregman brought him in. So we're up 1-0.
Yep.
And then 6 innings go by, and we're still up 1-0.
Yep.
And you talked about it already. Christian Javier, a great outing. And this is the kind of outing we need to win because we have an amazing 7, 8, and 9 inning combo. 6 innings, 4 hits, no runs, only 1 walk, and 6 strikeouts. I think he threw 90 pitches. It was exactly what the Astros needed, but the offense just can't get it done.
Yeah. And they've left a lot of guys on the first two games. The Astros have been pretty good team over the last several years, driving runs in. Now give Bregman credit. Got a 2-out RBI right after Tucker had struck out with Altuve on second. But you got to have more of them. We've had lots of traffic. This team, the one thing about this team knows how to win. There are a lot of teams that have played well, but this team has shown they know how to win. And they just don't lose that overnight. So it's going to pick up.
Yeah, it was a great outing, but we had some bullpen woes. So it's the beautiful.
You're too kind.
It's the beautiful. I mean, almost perfect in a way. At least the stat line for Javier. It's exactly what all we could ask for our starting pitcher.
Right.
And the 7th inning comes up. What do you think about the decision to put Taylor Scott in there? Was there any other options? Was that a great option?
Taylor Scott pitched the first night. Brian Spielborgs is really good analyst, and he was on Apple TV last night. As soon as they brought him in, he mentioned that relievers the second night in a row tend not to do quite as well. Scott looked like it.
Yeah.
Montero, I don't know who they could have put Mashinsky in. Mashinsky wasn't quite there. Souza's not available because he's on the IL. They're running kind of short out there. They're running short of experienced arms that have produced before. This is where not having Abreu really hurt. You could have put Abreu in for 7, brought Presley 8, Hader for 9. The formula's set. Astros win 1-0. We're having a different conversation this morning.
Yeah. I mean, I know we blame the pitchers, we blame the middle of the bullpen, and we'll get to that later. But the Astros can't score. They can't drive any win in. They left 11 on base last night. But Taylor Scott came in and got a ground out. Then he walked a couple of guys, gave up an RBI single, hit another guy, and he's out of the game.
Yeah, and he was not good.
And then they brought Montero in, who gave up a walk, and one of the guys left on base scored, so he didn't allow any runs. but they were up 2-1. So we go to the 8th inning, and we're only down 2-1,
Yeah.
and they throw Parker Mashinsky out there.
Looking at, back to your point, when you're looking, I'm just taking a quick look at the roster. Uh, last, the only other person out there that could have pitched is Seth Martinez.
Yeah, he threw
Martinez
he
pitched.
threw like a third of an inning the other day, didn't he?
Yeah. So maybe Martinez would have been the one to bring in.
Yeah.
That other than that, you've got Hader Presley, Montero, he pitched. Bray couldn't pitch. Mashinsky pitched. Souza's on the IL.
Yep.
Taylor Scott and Penn Murphy, who's on the IL. So there weren't a lot of bullets out there.
So the 8th inning is when it all unraveled. Parker Mashinsky, there was he gave up a single, he had a strikeout, then a walk, and then there was this fielder's choice that the guy reached, but there was an error, a throwing
Yeah, it
error
was
by
sloppy.
JP3. The run scores, and now we're down 3-0.
Yeah, it
And
was a
then
real sloppy play.
And then Wells had a bunt single, and there's the throwing error by Parker Mashinsky, and all of a sudden it's 4-1.
Yeah, they could have put in Belak earlier, but they put Belak in the 8th, and he got lit up. In the 9th, he got lit up.
He gave up a home run to Stanton in the 9th.
Yeah, the play to Pena was one where Pena got caught. He could have gone to first. He could have gone to second. It was a close play. It looked like he got caught in the middle of his decision. And then he kind of shuffled over to Altuve. As to Altuve's right, he didn't have a chance of making the play. And it was, it's just a mess. And, really opened up the floodgates. After that you felt the air go completely out of the game. They'd hung close. Yeah, they'd miss some opportunities, but it was still a competitive game. After that, I think it was 4-1, and then it was they were going to have a tough time after that.
Yeah, it was 4-1. Cabrera got a 2-run single, so it was 6-1. Then they changed to Belak, who got a strikeout, gave up a double, and then a ground out, and then Stanton got that home run, and that's how he got to 7-1. The Astros left 11 on base, and like I said earlier, haven't scored after the 2nd inning. It's only 2 games. I personally, I'm not panicking at all.
No.
I'm not happy with the games, but I'm not panicking. But the chances they had, bottom of the 2nd, 2 on and 2 out, Altuve comes up. He could have drove in a run.
Yeah.
Bottom of the
left
3rd,
field.
2 on and 1 out. 2 on, 1 out. Abreu and Chas both strike out. Bottom of the 4th, Diaz and Pena both single. Then Myers, Altuve, and Jordan all get out. 2 on, no outs in the 4th. And then they had 2 guys on base in the 7th with 1 out, and they couldn't do anything. They leave a lot of guys on base. I don't know what's wrong with the offense. They just can't get it done. And someone was saying this about the bullpen, about how it looks like there's nobody there. And they were talking about, look at last year's team. We had Maton, Stanek, and Neris. How much better would our team look if we had those guys? I know you can't afford to pay everybody, but somebody on Twitter said they let these guys walk, and now we got Trey Scott, Parker Mashinsky out there pitching in the middle of a game when our starter gives an amazing start. It's just not good.
Well, and that was a question that was asked in the offseason, and Dana, and I'm sure with Crane's blessing, said we're going to be fine. So they did open themselves up to criticism on that. So we'll see how it goes. Those guys just good relievers. They're a dime a dozen, but ones were really good ones worth their weight in gold. And right now we're just throwing guys out there, and it's got some guys who haven't performed yet that have to step up. Going, back to the pitching and the bullpen, what I would like to do is see somebody get Oswaldo Cabrera out. I mean, that's the 9th place hitter, and he is just eating the Astros lunch.
Yeah. I remember when Jake Marisnick was hitting 9th for the Astros, and he was the hottest player on the team. and they moved him up in the lineup, and he didn't do anything.
Yeah.
So if I was the Yankees, I would leave that guy there. Joe Espada had a quote, and I kind of jumbled it a little bit together. He said some of these guys, and he's talking about the guys in the bullpen, they need to step up and get some outs. He said we can't pitch the same guys every game. And I don't know how there wouldn't be a lot of people available. Like I said, going into the 8th inning, it was only 2-1. You're this powerful lineup that we supposedly have, they should be able to come back from a 2-1 deficit, but you go with Parker Mashinsky in the 8th. I don't really get that.
Well, the game was somewhat out of reach. It was already 4 or 5 to 1, something like that, 4 to 1. That uh, Espada's comments, the same thing we said on a pod a while back. You know, we've said a number of times. You've got Abreu, you've got Presley, you've got Hader, and you can't pitch those guys every night.
No.
The middle relief has to step up, and
Yep.
you hope they can. You assume they can. That Taylor Scott had a great spring, whatever spring means. We know spring
Yeah.
in a buck will get you riding a bus, right?
Oh, yeah.
The So tonight's another night.
Yep. We'll definitely get to that. But, it was 2-1 when they put
Yeah, it
Parker
was 2 to 1.
Mashinsky in, and then it was 4-1, and it was over after he went in, but I'm just saying, it was the 8th inning. Presley wasn't able to pitch. We couldn't go Presley Hader. Did he not have enough confidence in the offense? Is he saying, "Hey, let's put these guys out here, see what they got, because we got Abreu coming tomorrow, and we'll have our full squad." I don't know what the thought was behind it, but
I don't know. I don't know either. Presley is a 35-year-old. Maybe
yeah,
his recovery is not quite what it was when he was 29. But you know, Espada's been around these guys for a long time,
yeah,
and Espada, I think, is starting to realize it's a different view when you got to pull the trigger rather than tell somebody what he ought to do.
yeah. There's people posting pictures of, Dusty, "You miss me yet?" And they're talking about we have a analytical manager now, and he's using analytics and the metrics and all this stuff, and it isn't working out. It isn't working out for him. But like I said earlier, there's no reason to panic at all. The Astros will break out of it.
Yeah,
Altuve and KT, Kyle Tucker, they both had 2 hits. Alex Bregman, Diaz, and Pena had a hit, but Jordan 0 for 4,
yeah,
Abreu 0 for 4, Chaz 0 for 3, and Jake 0 for 3. I think we did have 5 total walks. So that had we got base runners. It
yeah.
doesn't look like it. Game 1, everybody got a hit. So there was a lot more offense, but we need a little more production. I don't know what's wrong with the offense.
There was traffic last night. There
Yeah.
was enough traffic to score runs.
Yeah.
And they were again. The the question comes: was it Rodon being tough like Cortez was last night, or was the Astros not executing? Who knows? It's early, and
It's super early.
everybody. It's so early, and everybody will want to draw a straight line based on where we are to the end of the season. It's not going to be that way. This team is too good.
Yeah.
It's too good.
So not a very good outing by the bullpen. So it's time for the player of the game. Who do you got?
Well, if anybody says Christian, not anybody but Christian Javier, they're not looking at the game.
It is a big, huge no-brainer.
Yeah,
It is
he
Christian
goes he
Javier.
goes six he goes 6 innings with 4 hits. The
Yeah.
bullpen goes 3 innings with 8 hits.
Yeah. And no runs
Yeah,
and 4 and 7 runs.
and I'm not going to stretch too far, but that's not very good by the bullpen.
Yeah, there's no one else to pick.
You're not going to win a lot of games with that.
Yeah. So Christian Javier comes into this season, into spring training, slimmer. Last year he had high expectations. A lot of people had high expectations for him. They expected him to be, all right, Stadium Steffi is awake,
Eh,
and she says it has to be Christian Javier. It has to be. There's no way it isn't.
Morning, Steffi. Nice to see that you're up and enjoying the pod.
Up with the boys. So I'm totally lost now because that came on the screen, but he like I said, he came in slimmer, he came in shape. Last year, he had higher expectations. This year, he's the number 3 guy, but I think he's gonna do great. I wish I would have said it before and I would look like I was smart, but that was a great outing.
Every outing he had in the spring, I think, save one. He had one spring outing that was not quite as good. Was really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've heard that they've changed his mechanics to get him more upright, so his fastball has more ride. The thing about Javier last night, we haven't said it yet. The fastball, the invisible was not there, but man, he broke out a changeup that he threw about um, he threw a changeup about 30% of the time, they were saying at one point in time. And
Yeah.
then but it was electric. He struck out Judge with that changeup once, and it was really, really good. And one thing that Javier has always had is the invisible, but he's never had something to keep the batters off balance. And they were off balance with that changeup last night. It acted kind of like a screwball.
Yeah.
You know, it looked like a circle changing to go down and into the right-handed batters, and it was tough.
All right, so Steffi has, she's woke up at 6 a.m. and she's heading to Corpus today. That's why she couldn't do the show. And we miss you, Steph. We miss you a lot. So anyway, tonight's game, to me, it feels like it's tomorrow because I haven't been asleep yet. 6:15 on Fox. It is Hunter Brown, who I believe in spring training was lights out,
Mhm.
against Stroman, Marcus Stroman, new acquisition by the Yankees, I believe, right? They got him this
Yeah, he got him
offseason.
up.
Should be an amazing pitching matchup, but also Brian Abreu is back. So we got our 7, 8, 9 combo. None of them pitched yesterday. So if Hunter Brown can get us in a position to win, we should win this thing. But let me tell you this. This was going to be my final thought, but I'm going to tell you this. I saw it on Twitter. It's someone said, "Is there a Minute Maid curse? Should they just move back into the Astrodome?" Since August 13th, 2023, the Astros are 7-24 at Minute Maid Park.
I don't know. I mean, but the facts are what they are. They're not playing well at home, are they?
Yeah. They're gonna go on the road and they're gonna score 9 or 10 runs a game. It's just I don't know, I can't explain it. They said it on
And
the broadcast. They're like, We don't know how it happens." They have a
yeah.
hitter-friendly park. They have the 42,000 fans go to every game. They have, what do they call the ballpark? It's, like a crazy atmosphere with the
Oh
fans. It's
yeah.
like a tough place to play for
Yeah.
visiting teams, but they can't do anything. It's just nuts.
I no one has that answer. It goes back to 2019. You just when they couldn't win a game against the Nats. Uh, when somebody figures it out, I'm sure Joe'd like to know. I don't know.
Well,
It's tough. They better win tonight because I'm gonna be there.
you're gonna be there.
Oh yeah,
I will be in the living room watching it on Fox, and I'm pretty pumped because I had to work the first 2 games. But the first game, I got to watch some. I got to
yeah.
watch I guess it was yeah, it was like 4 to 4 when I left for work, and then it was on Apple TV, so I was able to watch it at break. So I could watch it on my phone. So I have seen bits and pieces of it. I got to see the Astros fall apart a little bit, but the Astros are cursed at home for some reason, but I'm pretty excited. Abreu's back. We're gonna have our 7, 8, 9. Abreu, Presley, and Hader. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to a great outing tonight by Hunter Brown, and I hope the Astros can win, not just for all of us, but for Wally, who will be there. I think you're on mute, buddy.
You were talking about the curse. You certainly don't want to get into players' heads, and athletes are notoriously superstitious.
It might already
And
be there.
yeah, they might already be there. You don't know. But again, Brown. I'll take Brown over Stroman as a matchup any day.
Yeah.
Stroman. Some days you get good Marcus. Some days you get bad Marcus. But Brown has had a great spring. You listen to him talk. He feels more comfortable where he is. He's done some analytical work to see what he needs to improve. They've worked on it over the winter and spring. He's going to be ready. You back to your comment about Abreu. What to me is so frustrating about Abreu is the suspension never should have happened. Guys who made that decision were guys who acted like they've never watched baseball or wanted just to take it out on the Astros, because in that point in the game, there's no reason to hit a player. And for
No.
the years we saw Dusty here, I've never seen him that mad.
Yeah.
People forget Dusty was a crackerjack player. Dusty had over 2,000 hits.
And he invented the high five.
And he invented the high five with Glenn Burke.
Yeah. Yeah. So Hunter Brown came into spring, and one of the games that I watched, they were talking about how he got tired last year. He hadn't thrown that many innings yet, and he got tired. But he came back in better shape, and I think the first pitch he threw was like 95 or 97 miles an hour. So I think this dude is ready, and I think he's ready for the long haul.
Yeah, listening to Hunter talk about that reminds me of a conversation Joe Morgan had. They were talking, he and John Miller were talking when he came up. He made the major leagues, so he's a major league player, but Nellie Fox made him a big leaguer. And the difference was there's a mindset between just being in the majors and being a big leaguer. When you're a big leaguer, you take care of your responsibilities, you grow into the job, you advance yourself. And that's what you see in the really good players. And the fringe players. The fringe players just might be in the league, but the really good players will become big leaguers. And it's going to be neat to see Hunter take that step to become a really big leaguer, because he's got the talent. He's got the mindset. He's got a good support system around him in the Astros, and I expect to see a really good game tonight.
Yeah. So on another note,
I also expect to see a run after the second inning.
I do too. That if the Astros score after the second inning, you have to take a shot. Not you, but everyone watching the game tonight.
I don't know. We'll probably Uber, so we might.
Oh, you could drink. You're going to drink some margaritas?
No, that's Mary's job.
Well, I forgot what I was going to say, but you have any final thoughts? We kind of might have said them there. I don't know.
Well, again, we're talking about big leaguers. Big leaguers wipe off the bad games and go to the next game.
Yeah.
This team is built to win. They've won a lot. Yes, they've had 2 games that they probably think they should have won. Certainly the first game they should have won. Second game, they just didn't execute it at the bat, and wasted a good start. It's going to be incumbent on Brown to go long tonight. We've detailed who was out there in the bullpen.
Yeah.
Taylor Scott's not going to be available.
If
Montero's not going to be available.
If he only goes 5 innings, they're going to have to figure out who's going to pitch the 6th.
Yeah. Well, then you've got an extra pitcher too. Martinez didn't pitch last night. You can go Martinez.
There you go.
You go Martinez, and then the big 3.
All right. So the game tonight is at 6:15. Wally will be at the game. Steffi's in Corpus. We will be doing a live streaming show covering tonight's game right after it. I don't know who's going to be on with me, but I will definitely be here. So for Wally, we really appreciate you tuning in to today's episode of Astros Baseball. Stadium Steffi, drive safe, and we'll see you next time, folks.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks for listening this early. We had 79.